do with that growth that you have achieved. So how much growth is enough? And I think that's part of the universe. This is part of that whole issue with consciousness,
Wow.
that we are constantly growing and developing and growing, but sometimes we go into order and then to stagnation, and then something happens, and then we have to change that. I'll share something with the audience here,
No,
and
awesome.
that is
Awesome.
that
Dr. Fannin, are you okay for time?
I am. Are you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I just don't pay any attention to the time
Yeah,
here.
no.
So I'm kind of share this because I haven't shared this with a lot of people, but a little over a year ago, in December of 22, I ended up having a second stroke. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I was kind of dizzy and couldn't lay down, couldn't sit up, stuff like that. And it really was because of my blood pressure, but I didn't know that. So in the morning, my insurance company said, go to the hospital, have them check you out. So I did. And they kept me there for 5 days. Then I'm laying in bed for 5 days, with all the stuff that I know and thinking about this is like, all this stuff. What
Wow.
are you doing with it? And so
Wow.
I made that decision. This is what I want the rest of my life to be about, is to teach this, to train this, to do the research, to help people understand, because it's not any magic that I have. We all have this ability. The question is, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to cultivate that kind of growth? Are we going to try and do these things so that we can continue growing? Or are we always going to wait for it to be thrust upon us? Or are we going to choose to change up those variables? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, we are choosing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have covered a lot of ground here, Julie.
No, amazing. No, absolutely. Well, and so for regarding the access bars study, do you have any, you said earlier that you had a slide that you had, just like the difference of I think the quantitative EEG before and after. Do you have that?
I'd have to go
If you
back in
don't,
my
totally fine.
files and pull it out. Yeah, I have one folder with a whole bunch of stuff called Access Consciousness, and it's in there. So yeah, I could pull that out, but to me, that's just dinner conversation.
I
So
know,
pull
I
out that
know.
slide, we talk about what is more important is what we're doing with the energy, the frequency, the vibration that we all have the ability to do if we will but subscribe to some of that stuff. And so that's where we're at now, is looking at how can we do that? How can we grow? How can we develop? And so this is what I do in helping to train people, to teach people, and also to look at their different frequencies, like with what we're going to do with you here shortly, is
No, no.
do some scans on you and just see what's there. And then we can
Well,
talk about it in another session and then share it with everybody if you like.
Well, wow. Well, that just is beyond anything I even imagined. Thank you so much. And like Dr. Fannin, I thank you so much for your time. And I'm so fascinated and how eloquently you can merge science with consciousness and spirituality and all these things. So it's actually how we can pragmatically use this in our life, because like when you look at the slit experiment, it's like, how am I going to use that in my life? But until someone's just like, the observer is like when you change
Exactly.
your observations. So it's like until you we can kind of get to these little like nuggets there. But Dr. Fannin, thank you so much for your time. This has just been awesome.
Yeah, if people want to know a little bit more, they can go to our website, thoughtgenius.com, and there's all kinds of information and things that are there. Or if they want teaching or coaching or whatever it is that they
Yeah.
need, we can take care of them. If they want to schedule an appointment with me, on that website, it says schedule a conversation, and they can either get a 15-minute consult with me, or if it's somebody that I'm working with, we have a private room that we go into for an hour, and they come in just like what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And this is where we do the work in looking at where they're at and what they need and how they're going to go about that. So there's a way to get a hold of me at thoughtgenius.com. And I look forward to having more conversations with more people about any of this. You know,
Wonderful.
Julie, thank you for inviting me
Oh,
to do this. So,
no, thank you so much for your time. And like, wow, just like wisdom, knowledge, like, holy cow. But yeah, Dr. Fannin, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here.
yeah, see you another time. Bye bye.
Awesome. Bye bye.
Have to. Okay.
No, awesome.
Okay. So now we're recording. Let me bring this up. Hang on. I'm not. You're not going to be able to see me for or I won't be able to see you for a second here while I get the information. Okay. So this is your inner voice report right here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're going to get an email like this. And so you'll see the URL down here. And so you just click on the URL and it will bring up your report. Yeah, so we see up here in the gray, these are the frequencies that are out of balance. So it gives us the highest ones. Let's look at D sharp first. When we look at D sharp down here, this orange one, you see how tall it is. It says, well, that one's way out of balance. And then it says, okay, A sharp is out of balance. So we come down here to A sharp, you see the kind of purple one there. And then C, we come back up here and we look at C. And so it's not quite as tall, but it's saying that one's out of balance. And then the B is the smallest one. So if we go down here to B, you see how small that one is down here.
Oh,
that's
wow.
usually the one that we hide from everybody else. But if we push the player here, it will start playing. So I don't know if you can hear that or not.
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so what it's not the music that is causing the balancing. It is the tone underneath that. So it's using A, and that's why it puts a border around A when we tell it to play. Now, there's another part to this. Well, I'll come back to that. So you'll be able to look at this and read all about your inner voice and what that's doing. Now, color also has a frequency and a vibration. I don't mess with these, but a lot of people will buy the colored glasses, and then it will tell you what you're looking at. So it's going to give us, we can see that the high frequency is D sharp, A sharp, and C, and your lowest one was B. And so we can see those down here. It's going to give you a scale. So when we look at this first one, it says, are you emotionally disconnected or are you emotionally integrated? So the frequency D sharp is what is keeping you from being more integrated. And it's using A down here, the supportive note, to bring that back into balance. And the color is violet, with all of that. Then you can see the next one. Do you have rigid beliefs or are you open to possibilities? And so you're going to fall somewhere on that scale. This is where A sharp comes in, and it's trying to fix it with E. And so we can see that this one has to do with clarity, energy, optimism, enlightenment, intelligence, honor, loyalty, and joy. And so when that gets out of balance, then we are lacking in those feelings.
Yeah.
So we can go through all of the ones here. I'm not going to take the time to go through that because I want to show you something else here. There's another thing that we call a pulse tone here. So if we click on the pulse tone, then we can see different kinds of things that are going on. So there are these parameters here that are going to give you that pulse energy. So I can go in here and I can click on the play. And so it's giving me a pulse vibration here.
Wow.
And I can change that if I'm going to say meditate, for example. I can go down here and look at here's the meditation.
Wow.
So you're getting this
Wow.
pulse tone. So it's like a frequency that is pulsing through the energy that's going on there. Or if I just want tranquility, so here's the calming one.
Wow.
So I can select whatever parameters that I want. I can
Wow.
also select the type of wave that I want to be pulsing through. Instead of a triangle wave, we can do a square wave.
Wow.
And these all have to do with physics. So
Wow.
get into a lot of that stuff, but we'll go back to the triangle here.
Wow.
And it's showing you the average frequency up here. So it's 388.13 hertz. So let's take the bars, for example. If we were measuring this while you're doing the bars, it would show us what the frequency of the bars is and what the pulse rate is.
Wow.
So this is what I'm working with the doctoral student to look at the positive and negative polarity of the energy or the pulses that are going through that energy. So
wow.
pretty amazing stuff. Let me do your vitals while we're on this thing here.
Wow.
Let me switch over here. Pretty amazing stuff, huh?
I'm like trying to what intelligent question can I ask you here? Because I'm like I got nothing right now.
Yeah, and that's why we do this for 90 days. So about halfway through, people are telling me what's in there. So we're actually scanning you right now. Can you see it scanning you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're scanning your vitals right now. Then I will push the button when it's done with that on optimize so that it's saying, okay, where are you now in this moment? And then when we want to optimize the frequency, I'll just push a button on the scanner and it will optimize the frequency. So in the report, we're going to see where you were and how it optimized you.
Wow. Well, I guess like from the body work that I do, a lot of osteopathy, I love having a baseline so then you know what's changed. Like this is the whole thing that most people don't do. It's like, can we get a before and after picture here so we can like see what's actually happened? So I just absolutely love that. Well, and like how long has this program been around?
About 25 years.
Wow. And like when did you come into it then?
I started using this about the end of 2019, 2020.
Wow.
It's really interesting that the colleague that I have, she actually lives in Burley, Idaho. And
like for Thought Genius.
Okay, so now we're optimizing. I push the button that says optimize. So it's optimizing your frequencies here.
Okay.
So we'll let it do that. But anyway, I was introducing myself on a Facebook page, and this person came back a couple minutes later and said, by any chance, did you used to live in Murray, Utah? It's like, well, yes. And come to find out that this person, she does the scans as well. She's been doing these for a long time. She's been in the medical field for about 35 years. And I actually lived across the street from her. And we grew up together. I've known her since 7th grade. And then I went off journeying all around the world. They thought I had died or something. They couldn't find me. So there was a bunch of us kids that grew up together. And so in reuniting with her, we found out that she's doing the scans and I'm doing the scan. So then we started looking at her specialty and the things that we can do with that information. And so that's why we're working together now.
Awesome. And that's Lane Bills Godfrey?
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. What a small world. Like, wow.
Well, it just validates for us that we are meant to do this.